Well, I thought we had turned a corner in terms of how the narrative surrounding migration was going to be force-fed to us. But it seems we have gone back a step, and we are now reliving 6 or 7 months ago. Literally the same narrative is coming out into the public sphere yet again. The same narrative which subsequently led to the migration compact supposedly being signed in the first place. So, no idea why the NGOs are back in the picture. No idea why we're still supposedly rescuing illegal migrants when I thought it was safe and legal now at this point. But I mean, one of these NGOs, this Twitter here, it really does get on my nerves because it just goes to show the incessant, idiotic ideology of these people. And I know for the most part the NGOs are funded, but there will be some people in and around these NGOs that believe the bullshit that they put out. And if they don't, they've got supporters in said countries of Europe that follow the narrative anyway and follow it in favour of migration. But I mean, even this heading. Do I A, tell him there's already poor people in my country, or B, save his life? Nobody's disputing whether or not you want to save his life, but nothing says you have to take them here. Because none of them are refugees. But again, this is the blurring of the lines that we all seen coming for a matter of months leading up to the compact being signed. So the reason I bring up this NGO boat is because they have rescued over 311 people, and they were floating about aimlessly, desperately trying to find somebody to allow them into their port of entry. And over 300 people have been so-called rescued. It's the same shit, different day. Libya is not a safe port at all. A new UN report speaks about unimaginable horrors for refugees and migrants caught there. This is why we urge the EU to provide a safe port for those rescued by Sea-Watch crew. Really? See, the thing is, any mishaps and any endeavours that these people may find themselves in, whether that be when they actually go on to the Mediterranean Sea, or whether that be if they get caught in some Libyan holding pen, for all intents and purposes, that is the fault of themselves for deciding to take this journey upon themselves. But more importantly, it's the fault of people like the NGOs, and it's the fault of the European politicians that have encouraged them and incentivized them, because every single time they are so-called rescued, you incentivize more people to repeat the journey. This migrant crisis would no longer have been called a crisis years ago, in fact, if they had just done that very simplistic action of sending them back, making it crystal clear that this wouldn't be tolerated. But in fact, the complete and utter opposite has happened. You have incentivized more and more and more, and with every death that occurs, you exploit, and you make it so that more needs to be done to prevent any more deaths from happening. But the most obvious thing to prevent any more deaths from happening is staring at you right in the face, but it's the one thing you won't do. And quite frankly, how these NGOs are able to operate, still to this day, really does beg belief.
A ship with 311 migrants on board, including women and children, is searching desperately for a Mediterranean port that will accept them after Malta and Italy refused permission to dock. Italy's Interior Minister Matteo Salvini was again the driving force behind Italy's refusal and tweeted an attack on the NGO Open Arms that rescued them. Greece, France and Spain have been approached for permission to dock without any answer. Refusing to allow a ship in distress to dock is a violation of international maritime regulations, but these seem to have gone by the board in the Mediterranean where migrants are concerned.
Oh my god. This narrative is getting really beyond bearable at this point. I mean, it should come as no shock to anybody that the true intention of what the people behind the scenes are really invested in, and what they really want to see as the future of Europe, is replacement migration. They talked about it in the year 2000, and they have made no bones about it in regards to the desperate need for migration all of a sudden. Making up excuses as they go along, adding to the tally of reasons for why these people need to flee their country of origin. They're making no bones about it at this point. But in the process, the narrative becomes more and more unbearable. I mean, even taking a step back from everything and looking at this taking this at face value is beyond. I just can't fucking take it. I mean, Everybody knows that these NGOs are exploiting the law. Everybody knows that these NGOs are actively seeking these people out to then take them here. So for them to complain about certain European countries refusing them access to their ports, they are the ones that are completely redefining what asylum means. They are the ones that are taking the plight of refugees and applying it to the plight of migrants. You're not allowed safe entry to the nearest port for a bunch of fucking migrants. But it's incessant bullshit that the NGOs and the far left rhetoric will have you believe otherwise. It's absolutely insane. It's madness. Every single day, more and more of these migrants are either turning up dead or they're being rescued. And with every one that is rescued, the word gets back to more to do the same. You've got women that are heavily pregnant. You've got men, young men, multiple men, a lot more men than women, but they always add in the women and children aspect as if that makes it A-okay. Half of these men, if not all of these men, are fleeing war-torn countries apparently. Well, I don't see any Syrians. I don't see any Syrians at all. I don't even see any Middle Easterns for the most part. They're all African. And of course, they've got the excuses for why they're leaving Africa now en masse. Climate change and poverty and seeking a better life. Well, if you're seeking a better life and you come from Africa, you should have been joining the queue like everybody else to enter Europe. But it just seems to me that they've been fast-travelled over here, and the NGOs are part of the problem. They're another chink in the human trafficking chain.
5 migrant boats trying to cross from France through the English Channel to reach the coast of the UK. Let me start up by pulling up some social media posts from the RNLI. They're an organisation in the UK who undertake search and rescue. They say their volunteers called out in the middle of the night to assist in an operation run by the UK authorities. They say 13 people were rescued. They were bystanders.
This word rescued, you know what I mean? I don't know how many times I've touched upon that, and I'm sure many other people have noticed this as well. They keep talking about rescuing, and we all know what they mean. They've just been spotted, or in many cases they've been met at a meeting point, and then their objective of entering Europe illegally is no longer a problem because they're fast travelled in, or in this case their attempts to reach Britain, they're rescued. And some of which obviously have been taken back to France. But what do you think will happen to them when they're in France? What do you think happens to all these people that get quote-unquote rescued? Now, they get taken to detention centres and the like, supposedly to find out if they're eligible for asylum, and we all know they're not. But they don't get sent back. They rarely get sent back. They don't get punished. And if you're going to say to me, how can you prove that? Look at this one glaring piece of evidence. And that is the continuation of the migrant crisis. Because if some of these people were to be sent back, surely the message would get out to some people that might put them off a little bit. But it never seems to happen like that. No. It just continues. It continues on and on and on and on. Because they know they can. They know they can get away with it. They're being incentivised. They're being picked up. They're being quote-unquote rescued. Then now, of course, the UN's come out to sing their praises and say that they're all a positive gain to Europe, and we're going to need them in the future because of climate change and fucking an ageing population. So they keep changing their excuses as to why we need these people over here. But one thing is abundantly clear, and that's they are going to keep coming. I just wish they would make the narrative a little bit less painful to endure while we are fucking replaced. Peace.